Shalom. Giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elect elders of Israel that rule well. Strong salutations to your brothers out there that labor in sound doctrine and in sincerity. Yahweh Shema Shah, them so elect. And peace, blessings, and salutations to the house of David, the elect. And the topic of this video is called Wakanda Forever, Northern Kingdom versus Southern Kingdom. And as you can see on my screen, I got the poster for the latest Black Panther movie called Wakanda Forever. And I was able to see this movie when this movie came out last month, at the end of last month, and I was able to catch it when it first came out last month. And it just reminded me of Israel, man. It reminded me of Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, the 12 tribes, man. And the conflict of Israel and pretty much our history and our prophet, the prophecies that, the things that we're going to be doing in the future, as Judah and Ephraim, Judah and Israel coming back together, man. And while I was watching the movie, I'm like, man, this movie is spiritual, man. The producer or the director, I believe it's the producer, he's a Jake. I'm like, man, he got to know about the truth, man. And fair warning, I'm about to put out some, if you haven't seen the movie, put out some spoilers. You got this new, well, they're not really new, all right, but they new in the movie. So you got this kingdom, all right, this underwater kingdom, and they're like Wakanda, all right, but they're underwater, and their whole kingdom, just like Wakanda, is powered by vibranium, man. And Wakanda, they thought they was the only one. They thought they was the only ones with the vibranium. But happens to be that this underwater kingdom, they look like Native Americans, man. Native American, the North, Central, and South America, the Northern Kingdom, man. All right, they got they like Mayans, more so Mayans, man. All right, I believe this could be Zebulon. All right, which Maya, that's Zebulon. That's the tribe of Zebulon down there in Central America, right underneath Mexico, right underneath the Aztecs. I said it's probably like a mixture, all right, of you see right here, this lady, all right, and they blue because they ocean people, all right. Let me see, I think that's the only one that they got. Oh yeah, you got one right here, another one of the ocean people, and they they whole thing, if just like with Wakanda, all right, they got vibranium on them as well, all right, showing you that they one of those they are special people as well, because Wakanda, Wakanda had the vibranium, and everybody wanted a part of Wakanda, man, because they was a special people. They had the special resources, man. But come to find out, all right, through a diligent search, Esau was able to discover vibranium outside of Wakanda, man. And these people happen to appear upon the scene, and now it's being found out, it's being sought out, that not just Judah, all right, not just the so-called Negroes, from West Africa, from Europe, from different parts of the world where Judah was at, where Judah was scattered. Also you got the lost 10 tribes, man. All right, can't forget about them. The lost 10 tribes that been over here in the Americas since they left the Assyrian captivity. That lost you know, that lost kingdom, the kingdom of that lost kingdom, man. You know, just like this kingdom, that was like a lost kingdom, but they resurfaced, man. You know, and then, you know, obviously you got conflict between this kingdom and Wakanda, you know, and it's like you know, it's like in the spirit, it's like a family reunion and a family affair, you know. But I got some okay, boom, here's another poster. All right, one of the original. So you got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. All right, and it's basically Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, man. All right, you can title this Northern Kingdom versus Southern Kingdom, or you can title this the reunion. All right, the reunion and battle of Yasharallah, the reunion and battle of Israel within. You know, you got Northern Kingdom, right? With this is Namor. He's supposed to be their god, but he really, you know, a king. You know, and this is Yuri, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's her name. And she supposed to be she becomes the next Black Panther. She becomes the next ruler after her mother. All right, I don't want to spoil the whole movie. I mean, it really don't matter to me. I don't really care about spoilers. But you know, she succeeds her mother after certain events happen. But yeah, you know, Wakanda represents Southern Kingdom, and I forgot the name of the Ocean Kingdom with the vibranium, but they represent Northern Kingdom, man. All right, and you have a continual conflict between these two kingdoms in the movie, just like in the scriptures, man. Just like within the scriptures. All right, just like within the scriptures. Let me get this trailer. I'm gonna play this trailer. Y'all can hear me see. Make sure everything good. All right, play this trailer.
Only the most broken people.
And let me stop it right there. It's kind of, look at that. You know, they doing a memorial for the last Black Panther. But when you look at it, it's kind of like you know, the ancient Phoenician language. You know, the Hebrew, man. It's kind of similar to the Hebrew. You know, showing you these Hollywood producers. You know, they know, man. They know about Israel, man. They know who we are. They know that the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called North American and Seminole Indians are the true biblical Israelites and Jews, man. They know that we Yahweh's people. We the Lord's people, man. They know. You know, you can't make that up. Look at that, man. You know, look at that. You can't tell me that's not similar to. That's not like a Phoenician language, which the Paleo Hebrew. That's an ancient Phoenician language, a Canaanite language. All right, land of Canaan. You know, that's the ancient holy language.
Can be great leaders.
All right, and that's the little, that's the underwater vibranium kingdom. All right, representing what? Northern Kingdom. All right, you got the on land vibranium kingdom, which is, everybody know that's Wakanda. That represents what? The Southern Kingdom, huh? Because at the end of the day, Judah is leading the charge for the whole nation, man. All right, Judah is everywhere. You know, Judah dominate everything, man. That's why the Lord said, let me get this in Zechariah. It starts with Judah first, man. It starts with the so-called Negroes first. All right, chiefly the so-called blacks in America. All right, this is a book, but you have other tribes, the rest of the southern kingdom, Benjamin and Levi. All right, which Benjamin is attached to Judah according to 1 Kings, the 12th chapter. We're gonna read that. You know, because when Israel went against the house of David, you know, Judah continued to follow King Rehoboam, and Benjamin continued to follow King Rehoboam. All right, so Benjamin is attached to Judah. So this is Zechariah. This is Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 7. And it reads, it says, the Lord also shall say the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Right, so it starts with the head tribe, Yahweh, Judah. All right, Yahweh thanks. That's what Yahweh means. Judah in the Hebrew is Yahweh, and Yahweh means Yahweh thanks, man. So it starts with Judah, man. And it's also, let's go to Hebrews, man, because our Lord sprang from Judah. That's I believe that's what, Hebrews 7. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, and verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. Right. So Yahweh Shai came from the loins of Judah. All right. He came out of the loins of Joseph, his father, showing you that the Immaculate Conception, that's off, man. All right. How can Yahweh Shai come out of Judah? All right. If he didn't have an earthly father, man. If he didn't come from from the loins of Joseph. Loins meaning the nutsack, the semen, the sperm from his father Joseph. How can he be from Judah? All right. Because according to the law, according to Numbers, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 17. And Moses, matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 1. It says, and Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take ye some of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their poles. So this is the Lord telling Moses to look, get the children of Israel together, all right, their families and everything, and do their records, all right, their houses according to who their father is, all right, houses, lineage, is the same thing. I'm reading that again. It says, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers. So you are what your father is. It said, with the number of their names, every male by their poles. Verse 3, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Verse 4, and it says, and with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. So let's jump down. Verse 17, and Moses and Aaron took these men which are expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees. Now, another word for pedigree, all right, another word for pedigree is lineage. So let's go to Numbers. Let's go on the blue letter, look at pedigree real quick. Real fast. Pedigree. It's another word I'm trying to think of, but it should bring it up.
Strong's H3205. Yalad.
Yalad. It says to bring. It says to bear, bring forth, beget, gender, travail. All right, we want to get straight to the point. It says to declare one's birth pedigree. Let's see, so we get here. It says this is what we want. All right, because Esau got all these damn words. It says specifically, right? Specifically to show lineage. All right, that's what we want, to show lineage, meaning what? Your nationality, who you are, your race. Now we look up lineage. All right, lineage, ancestry. Come on, man. Family, parentage, birth, descent. All right, your line, extraction, derivation, heritage, genealogy, roots, house. All right, dynasty, origin, background, stock, train, race, bloodline, blood, breeding, pedigree, succession. All right, lineage, a lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestry, or pedigree. Okay, so there you have it, man. So they did what it says, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names from 20 years old and upward by their post right. So you declared your pedigree or your lineage or your race, right, by the house of your father, man. All right, and what's the house of your father? The head of the house, which is the man, the father. All right, the house. So whatever your father is, all right, whatever his patriarchal lineage goes back to, all right, that's what you are, you know. So if he's a Judite, you're a Judite. So Yahweh Shai came from the loins of Joseph. Making him coming from the loins of Judah. Hebrews 7:14, for it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. So Yahweh Shai is a Judah. He's from the tribe of Judah. All right, so the Lord is dealing with Judah first, man. That's the top and head tribe. All right, that's the tribe with the most spotlight on it, if you will, man.
His people did not call him general or king. They called him Kukulkan, the feather serpent god. Killing him will risk eternal war.
He's coming for the surface world.
We know what you whisper. They have lost their protector. Now is our time to strike. Show them who we are.
Alright, so there you have it. That's it on that. You had some people chime in, you know, Jake from both kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom. You know, people had different things to say. Let's watch some little clips. You know, Dr. Umar, he had something to say as well. All right, so let's look at some of these clips real quick.
Damn, what is that, bro? Damn, what?
Okay, so here's my biggest flaw with Wakanda Forever. I like the movie, but let's be real about this stupid shit. They end the battle with Namor and Shuri in the most cornball Disney princess kind of fucking way. Okay, so Shuri beats Namor, and then they go back to the ocean where they're all fighting, and then they just say, "Oh, we're gonna stop fighting, and we're gonna
spoiler alert.
become an alliance." This motherfucker killed the queen and flooded the whole city. And if I'm M'Baku and I got hit with that chest pulverizer by Namor earlier in the movie, and Shuri shows up and says we're done fighting, I'm not taking that. And I understand Shuri's whole point is that she doesn't want to go down the vengeance path. But honestly, my mom gets clapped, my city gets clapped, half my squad got clapped. I'm siding with Killmonger. I'm not taking that. Okay, so here's my biggest...
And me watching the movie, I'm saying the same thing, man. I'm like, man, shit, man, I would've got revenge, man. Vengeance, you know. But, you know, our people, you know, especially Judah, because, you know, Judah is dwelling with these devils. You know, Esau, Edom. So Judah is in America, and Judah, who was the forefront for the civil rights movement. All right, Judah in the 1960s rose up, you know, all, you know, with the MLK, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, and, you know, all these different so-called black activists or black leaders were passive, you know, pretty much, quote unquote, turn the other cheek from Esau's ass whoopings. You know, our people passive, you know, Esau fucking Jacob, specifically Judah. All right, Esau fucking Judah up, and Judah is more, what's the word? Judah would be more submissive in ways than he is with his own people, man. You know, Judah is get along, is all to go along and get along, man. We just want equal rights and equity. Judah don't want a revenge. You know, these niggas marching peacefully and all of that. So Esau pretty much taking advantage of that and exploiting, you know, Jake in his ignorance and what he's known for. And they show, you know, which is, it ain't nothing wrong, because that's, you know, this is actually our people, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And the scripture talk about how they gonna come back together. But at the same time, you know, it's like they trying to make Judah, you know, they trying to make Jake seem weak or docile, you know, because really who has killed our people, man, and separated our families and caused genocide and destruction of our families and our heritage, man. Esau Edom. And what does Jake do? All right, Jake begs for peace and equity and equality with these devils, man. You know. So the movie was kind of I could see, you know, with Jake, you know, Southern Kingdom, you know, the ones that was mad, you know, I can see where they're getting at. You know how Esau, you know, these damn Hollywood producers, you know, they got the stereotypes and the exploitations in there. Just like with you know, some Northern Kingdom that was watching this movie, they got offended at some things, you know. I don't know what they got offended at, really, because nobody brought it up. But Jake, you know, Dr. Umar, he had brought out what he got pissed off, mad at. You know, you kind of see it, man. You know, Esau, he always, you know, there's always a stereotype of exploitation somewhere within, you know, within the script or the lines within these movies, man. See.
If you are of Latina descent and you are watching Wakanda Forever, I think you should get a little trigger warning before watching the movie that there's some heavy stuff and some very tough scenes that might affect you. I know they affected me. I've came out of that movie with like a lump in my throat, and I watched it last night, and I'm still feeling like extremely conflicted about how I feel about the story. So
now you see this right here? Black people, are you paying attention? See, the Latin community doesn't fall for the okie doke so easily. See, you can't trick them with the illusion of inclusion. I am still shocked and amazed that black people have not went through that movie with a fine-tooth comb and understand that you're being insulted right in front of your face. But Latinos get it. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me.
If you are
Right, a lot of people
descendant,
gets what's going on, but you know, a lot of people get the subliminals Esau be throwing out there, but really, when you look into, if you in the knowledge of the truth, man, you will understand that the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom split and been at war since, and the Lord cast both of us off, both of the tribes off, you know. But Yahweh Shah, through Yahweh Shah, he's bringing them back. You know, that's why Yahweh Shah, when he was on his ministry, then on the scene, then the time of the Roman captivity, the time when ancient Rome was in power, you know, over the Jews and the other nations, Yahweh Shah said what? He said, I have another sheep that is not of this fold. He was talking about, because there's no account of the Northern Kingdom, the 10 tribes, all right, being around, witnessing the ministry of Yahweh Shah during the time of, I'm talking about as a whole. Now, you did have some tribes there, but as a whole kingdom, all right, the children of Israel, the Northern Kingdom wasn't there as the Southern Kingdom was there in the time of ancient Rome was empowered in the time of Yahweh Shah and his ministry and his crucifixion, man. That's why Yahweh Shah said, I have another sheep. Let's get that. All right, so when you understanding this, you're okay. And what's written, it says how it will be brought back together, and various others, in various chapters. Ezekiel the 37th chapter, Isaiah the 11th chapter. Let's get it. St. John the 10th chapter. Okay, boom. This is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 16, and it says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Now, what was he talking about? He was talking about the Northern Kingdom, man. The lost 10 tribes. It says, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Right. That's read about that in Ezekiel the 37th chapter. They shall be one fold and one shepherd. All right. The children of Israel and the children of Judah, all right, shall come together. They shall appoint themselves one head, and they shall come out of the land. That's in the Hosea, the 1st chapter. You know. But as far as Jacob not being in the truth, that they kind of still at you can still see the conflict between Judah and Israel, man. You can still see the contempt and dislike for one another. All right, which is normal because the Lord said, all right, when Yahweh Shah, pretty much when the kingdom is established, all that's gonna go away. Judah not gonna vex Ephraim, and Ephraim is not gonna envy Judah, man. All right, I got another video I'm gonna play. Then we're gonna get into these scriptures.
Mexicans beat up on black people. Okay, the underwater people was Mexicans.
Yeah.
Okay, they basically gentrified the movie. I didn't go to the movie to see Mexicans beat up on black people. Okay, the underwater people was
all right, now this Dr. Umar. Now, if you know anything about
Mexicans,
I'm Dr. Umar. All right, he's a pro-black. He probably know about the Hebrew Israelites, which a lot of people know about the Hebrew Israelites. You have a lot of unbelievers. They don't believe different things. Most people don't believe in a one West doctrine. All right, the full truth. A lot of these people out here, they got a little bit of truth, like the conscious community. Some of different people got a little bit of truth, but they don't have the full truth. The full truth is Yahweh Shah, all right, the Holy Bible. Right, Yahweh Ba Shema Shah, Yahweh Shah, and the truth, man. That the Israelites today are you can find the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. All right, because they on the earth today, the descendants of them are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, I'm gonna say that again: the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and I'm gonna say North American and Seminole Indians, because pretty much the Northern Kingdom, the Latin tribes are the Native Americans, man. Really, when you pretty had that understanding, you know, it's just Gad and Reuben, the two tribes, which y'all know is the Native Americans, right? They didn't have really a Spanish captivity like the rest of the Northern Kingdom, you know, because they was, you know, the Spanish and the Portuguese was over them, but the English and the French was over Gad and Reuben. But really, Gad and Reuben is really the Latin, all the Latin tribes are the Native Americans. So like are the Native Americans, you know. But just happen to be one's on the reservations, the others are not. You know, they like Judah, but they speak in Spanish, man. You know, they like the Southern Kingdom, but they speaking that Spanish, Espanol, or Portuguese. Judah is speaking English or French Creole. You know, Levi speaking that French Creole, man, down there in Haiti. All right, and then you got the rest of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, which are pretty much all the tribes, man. You know, but mostly the 12 tribes are found within this Babylonian captivity under Esau Edom, man. They're on the west. You know, they found here, man, because this is spiritual Egypt. All right, the only other captivity where Israel, where the 12 tribes were in slavery together, in captivity together, was in ancient Egypt. All right, all the other captivities, the Northern Kingdom went in captivity to the Syrian captivity. All right, Judah was still in the land. Then Judah went into the Babylonian captivity. Once Israel never returned to the Northern Kingdom. All right, the Northern Kingdom, Israel, the 10 tribes, they never returned back to Jerusalem, to the homeland. You know, there's no record of them returning as a kingdom. The whole 10 tribes. No, they left. They went to what? They went to the Arsaru. They went to the Americas. All right. After the Babylonian captivity, it was the Medo-Persian captivity that Judah was under, and that king grant them to return back, to grant them, you know, leave, that they was able to go back to Jerusalem, and Nehemiah, and it was Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, and others. All right, for the construction, the rebuilding of the second temple. Now the Southern Kingdom returned, but the Northern Kingdom never returned, man. All right, and this is history that one needs to learn to understand the different prophecies, the different breakdowns in the scriptures, like the different chapters in the Romans. All right, the prophecy of Hosea chapter 1, when the Lord said He's going to cast off Israel, then He cast off Judah. All right, ultimately Judah was cast out of the land after pretty much 70 AD. That's when most of, you know, Israel had to flee. They went with hardcore slavery under the Romans. You know, they was facing Roman persecution. You know, that's when, you know, Jake really got out of there. You know, and Jake really haven't really returned since then. You know, Jake been somewhere else in Europe or in Africa ruling, you know. But Jake really never, as a whole Southern Kingdom, never returned to Jerusalem, man. So now you have a fulfilling of Hosea, the first chapter, you know, and now you have a fulfillment of that, of when Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom are coming back together, are realizing who they are and who their enemies are, you know, and that you know, they have a savior that's coming to redeem them and bring them back to the land, man. You know, but let me play this video, because, you know, a lot of people like Dr. Umar, they don't understand this. They don't understand this truth. You know, they got a little bit of truth, but they don't have the full 100% truth, man. They don't have the doctrine of Yahweh Shah. You know, so they say things, you know, and ultimately they just got the spirit of Jake, man. They got the spirit of Jake, hate one another. You know, Judah don't like Ephraim, and Ephraim don't like Judah, man. All right, it is what it is, but the Lord is starting to you know, remove those curses, remove that evil eye from one another. So I'm gonna play this.
I didn't go to the movie to see Mexicans beat up on black people. Okay, the underwater people was Mexicans.
Yeah.
Okay, they basically gentrified the movie for Mexicans. The Mexican hero, you saw it.
Yeah.
The Mexican
I
hero.
didn't see it yet, but I know
He had more.
All right, spoiler-free version. Paraphrase. Like,
He had more air time in the movie
okay.
than anybody from Wakanda. So they should have. It shouldn't even been called Black Panther.
Yeah,
It should have
was
been
like-
called the gentrification of Black Panther by the Mexicans. But here's the point I want to
like
get
the
to.
origins breaking him out.
Here's the point that I want to get to. After the Mexican god kills Queen Mother Angela Bassett, he murders her.
That's a spoiler.
Shuri has a chance to murder him back. And instead she exercises patience and says we can work together. And what does the Mexican woman say to the Mexican at the end? Why are you forming an allegiance with Wakanda?
Yeah.
You should have destroyed them. And what did he say? Don't worry. They trust us now. The Wakandans are the most powerful surface nation in the world. And we got them while we want them. So even in Black Panther, we don't learn our lesson. We are vicious with each other, never vicious with our enemies. Never vicious with our enemies. You got to force a black person to spend $1 with another African, but we will give $30 billion to the Korean hair care establishment every single year, and the Koreans have never stood up for black folks a day in our life. We are literally financing our own oppression, and we don't want to admit it because we do not want to discipline our economic dysfunctional behavior.
All right. And, oh yeah, mind you, Dr. Umar is pro-black or pro-African, so he don't. You know, even if he knew about the truth of Israel, he wouldn't look at, you know, he'd be like a Negro-only Israelite. And that's what kind of the spirit that Dr. Umar had. He like a Negro-only Israelite. If he was a big Israelite, that's what I believe he'll be. You know, he's a pro-black, pro-African, which all skin folk and kinfolk, you know, the Lord put a difference between Israel and the Egyptian. The Hamites are dark-skinned people, a dark-skinned race, but they not Shemites. They not, you know, Israel are Shemites. The rest of the Africans are Hamites, man. You know, that continent in Africa that you like, you know, love to talk about, you know, those are Hamites, man. Now you do have the children of Israel scattered amongst those Hamites, you know, but for the most part, that continent is full of Hamites and other heathens, man. You know, the sons of Ham and other heathens that's outside of Israel, man. So, you know, we not African, man. We not black, we not African, we Israelites. Now the Northern Kingdom, all right, the Northern Kingdom is mixed. And when I say mixed, when you read Hosea, the 7th chapter, talk about how Ephraim mixed himself among the nations. This is why the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom sometimes look different. All right, or that, you know, because when you look, and when you look at the word, what's the word? Hispanic, I believe it's Hispanic, or it's I think it's Hispanic. It means Hispanic. It basically means mixed, man. All right, it means mixed, because Ephraim was doing what Ephraim was mixing himself, man. All right, mixing himself with them, you know, them different, you know, them Assyrians, you know, because Ephraim, the Northern Kingdom, got took into Assyrian captivity. So if you know anything about the Assyrians, they conquered different strange people and made them subjects unto them. All right, and made them slaves in their kingdom. So Ephraim was among them. You know, the 10 tribes was among them. So you know, Ephraim, he was you know how Jake do, man, intermarrying with these different nations, man. You know, the Assyrians, the Medo-Persians, the Elamites that was there. And this is why, you know, sometimes you will look at a Hispanic, you know, so-called Hispanic, or you might look at a so-called Arab or whatever. One of them things from the Middle East, or Pakistan or Iranian, one of them things. And one of them might look close to or similar to a so-called Hispanic, one of our people, Northern Kingdom. You know, but then sometimes you got a Northern Kingdom that looks like a Southern Kingdom, a flat out, you know, Negro. All right, because we are the same people, man. You know, you know, they got this thing where they said black people are already over here. You know, we are the North America. We are the, you know. It was just that's just because, you know, the children of Israel, the 12 tribes. All right, Jake is from what? He's from Negro descent. All the 12 tribes are of Negro descent, man. All right, Negro and Indian descent. So you're gonna have Gad is not. You're not gonna have, what's the word? What you know as commercial Native Americans. All right, they all got that light skin with the long straight hair. That's not always the case, man. You had Native Americans that look like West Africans, man, straight up and down, dark skin with the wool. All right, with the fro, with the beard, man. You know, that's Gad, man. Those were Gadites as well, Reubenites, and the other 10 tribes, Northern Kingdom, man. So that's why Scripture say Ephraim has mixed himself. You know, because Ephraim can be, you know, when I say Ephraim, I'm talking about 10 tribes, the Northern Kingdom. All right, he can be dark skinned, real dark, to all the way damn near he looking like an Edomite, man, pale. You know, but see, this is not about color. It's about the bloodline and lineage. You know, because the bloodline and lineage is about what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob, 12 sons, which are the patriarchs of the 12 tribes, which are the promises are for. You know, so this ain't just this ain't about skin color or appearance, man. It's about the bloodline. So let me get this. You know, so we are, you know, the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, the so-called North American and Seminole Indians are the Israelites, man, are the Hebrew Israelites and Jews. So this is the book of 1 Kings. So let's get it all. Let's get some understanding what it all started. All right, because King Solomon, all right, just like his father, King David, was king over all 12 tribes, man. Matter of fact, let's get this. First, let's get 2 Samuel. All right, this is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 5, and verse 1. It says, Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou was he that led us out and brought us in Israel. And the Lord Yahweh said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron, before Yahweh, and they anointed David king over Israel. All right. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 40 years. All right. He in Hebron and Hebron, he reigned over Judah 70 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem, he reigned 30 and 3 years over all Israel and Judah. So there you have it. So at 30 years old, David went to Hebron and became king over Judah. And then 7 years later, and 6 months, all right, at 37 years old, he became king in Jerusalem over all the 12 tribes, man. All right. And he reigned for what it says, and reigned for what it says. And in Jerusalem, he reigned 30 and 3 years over all Israel and Judah. So he reigned 33 years in Jerusalem. So 33 plus 7 is 40 years. He reigned, man. He reigned as a king. All right. So we have that. So let's go to 1 Kings. All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 28. Then King David answered. This is King David pretty much on his deathbed, on his way out. This is 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 28. Then King David answered and said, call me Bathsheba. And she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore and said, as Yahweh liveth, that have redeemed my soul out of all distress, even as I swore unto thee by Yahweh, power of Israel, saying, assuredly Solomon thy son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne in my stead. Even so will I certainly do this. So Solomon was the man to succeed David on the throne. All right. So let's get it. Let's jump down. This is 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. It says, now the days of David drew nigh that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and shew thyself a man. And keep the charge of Yahweh thy power, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and judgments and his testimonies, as is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself, that Yahweh may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth, with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, thou knowest also, so this is getting into the different accounts of the opposition, people that went against David. All right, so let's jump down. We want to get to the point. Verse 10, so it says, so David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. So David passed on in the spirit world, passed on to the spirit world. Verse 11, in the days that David reigned over Israel, so it's repeating itself. This is why I read this in 2 Samuel. All right, so now it's generalizing the account. It says, in the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 33 years reigned he in Jerusalem. Verse 12, then sat Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established greatly. Now, it was important to get all of this because we have to get the background story, the origin of pretty much how this stuff began and how it started, you know. So we have an account where David, the house of David has been established, you know. David has reigned over all 12 tribes. Israel, you know, the 12 tribes have made a league with David, and they won union under the house of David, King David. The Lord promised David that not one of his sons, the Lord promised David that he gonna have, all right, a descendants continually reigning on his throne. Not one of them gonna fail as long as they keep his law, statutes, and commandments, and that the Lord took pretty much made a house for David forever, a throne in Israel forever, man. And that he gonna have a descendant that sit on his throne forever, and Yahweh Shai gonna fulfill that. Now, you have Solomon here after David, with his great kingdom of 40 years of peace. Now, at the end of his reign, all right, there's controversy. So this is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1. It says, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his power, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh, as did David his father. Then did Solomon build an high place for Cheshmosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. And Yahweh was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from Yahweh, power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he kept not that which Yahweh commanded. Wherefore Yahweh said unto Solomon, forasmuch as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. So boom, right here we have the Lord is pretty much setting up the future split of what the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right, because just not too long ago they made a league, you know, at the beginning of David's reign in Jerusalem. All the elders came to Hebron, and the 12 tribes were united under the command of who? King David. And then that was passed to who? King Solomon. But now King Solomon went off, so now the Lord is about to stir up controversy. All right, and you read about, that's why it says, and you read on the next verse, it says, the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. So now the Lord is starting to store up controversy towards, pretty much at the end of King Solomon's reign. Now, King Solomon, pretty much he about to be on his way out. All right, so let's jump down, verse 25, and it says, and he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief that Hadad did, and he abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. So this is talking about a Syrian that was adversary to so pretty much the Lord was raising up enemies and oppositions, against Solomon, because towards the end of Solomon's reign, his 40 years of peace, the Lord was stirring up controversy, man. The Lord Lord wasn't playing. Verse 26, it says, and Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephraite of Zerada, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way. And he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, For thus saith Yahweh, the power of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, because they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Cheshmosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give 1 tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. So pretty much for the sake of David, there's always going to be, all right, before ultimately Judah was cast out of the land, there was always going to be pretty much a descendant from David that was supposed to sit on the throne, man. You know, and ultimately, it happened until Judah went into captivity, man. All right, and it was for like it says that that the light that David his servant might have a light all the way in Jerusalem, because the Lord had the sure mercies of David. He didn't repent what he wanted to do, the good that he wanted to do for David, like he did for Saul, man. So the house of David was under Judah was under the house of David, and the rest of the nation. And this is why ultimately they was cast out of the land first, man, because the Lord was dealing with the house of David, man. The Lord is showing you He dealing with the house of David. That's why He's saving the tents of Judah first. But so let's go to the next chapter. So this is 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said unto them, What counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. All right, and that's some nigga shit to say right there. But pretty much what's going on in these couple of verses, is Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, the new king, all right, is trying to get counsel on how to establish his reign. How is he going to rule over the 12 tribes of Israel, man? He's trying to figure out what type of king he's going to be to his people. That's why he got counsel from the old man, but he didn't want to listen to what the old man had to say. But they gave him the right counsel, which that was all of the Lord, because the Lord had said, "What? I'm gonna cause a division to split, and on the house of David is only gonna have 1 tribe to rule over, and that's it." And Rehoboam, he took counsel from pretty much his peers, all right, if you will. The people that he grew up with, people of his same class, people pretty much that ain't got the wisdom that the old man got that Rehoboam pretty much got the counsel from at first. All right. So I'm gonna keep reading on. Verse 11. And it says, and now whereas my father did lad you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father have chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So this is King Rehoboam being a nigga. So Jeroboam, you know, so, and he gonna take this advice and be a nigga with it, you know, from his peers. Basically, his peers telling him to be a nigga towards the people. You know, verse 12 it says, so Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed. So like as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old man counsel that they gave him, and spake of them after the counsel of the young man, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Man. You know? It said, wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahweh, that he might perform his saying, which Yahweh spake by Ajah the Shelonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thy own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. The king of Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones that he died. All right, so this was a declaration of war, man. You know, it says, therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him up out. Just like it says, therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot and to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. Right, so they got it. So that's the declaration of war and the division and ultimately the split. All right. Until this day, man. You know. Verse 20, and it says, and it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him into the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin. So there you go, Benjamin. That's why I say Benjamin is attached to Judah. It says 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. So Rehoboam was like, man, look, you know, I'm about to, you know, Rehoboam was trying to pull some Alexander, you know, the Great stuff before Alexander the Great was on the scene. Because this is ultimately what Alexander the Great had to do, you know, when his father died. You know, he had to pretty much, but the Lord was with Alexander the Great, being ruler over all Macedonia and Greece. So he can that was pretty much him putting his house in order so he can do what? Conquer what he had to conquer. The Lord had put Alexander, because the Esau had to come into power. Amalek had to come into power, man. There had to be a issuing out, you know, first Maccabees, you know, evils had to grow upon the earth, man. That was a part of the prophecy. All right, but this prophecy is that you know, starting with Rehoboam, all right, the split starts there, and the house of David only gonna have one tribe. But see, he didn't. I guess he didn't know this or understand this, but he gonna get understanding when the Lord tell him. So it says, 22. It said, but the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus saith Yahweh, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. So this thing was from the Most High Yahweh Shema Shah. It says, they hearken therefore to the word of Yahweh and return to depart according to the word of the Lord. Right. And this is all because Solomon went off, man. You know. Now you got a whole division split, man. You know. This is why it's important for leaders to be great shepherds, or the Lord gonna end up chastising the whole nation, the whole kingdom gonna suffer. And our people have suffered ever since this day, man. Our people have been suffering. Just think about it. Ever since King Solomon went off, our people have been suffering from, the division. Our people never, the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom never came back together since that day. That's why I said to this day, they rebelled against the house of David, man. We never, since King Solomon, there has never been a king of the house of David to rule over all 12 tribes, and we have peace. So it's been a long time coming, man. It's been a few days, man. Real talk. So let me get what else I want? Oh yeah, let's get the casting out. 1 Kings. Second Kings. So like this is 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 18. It says, therefore the Lord Yahweh was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. All right, it's the fulfilling of Hosea, the 1st chapter. It says, this is part of the fulfilling. This is the start of the fulfilling. It says, there was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So the southern kingdom, Judah was the only king, the only tribe, only kingdom left in the land of Israel, man. The Lord cast the northern kingdom out of the land. Verse 19, also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord that power, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. So Judah followed out the northern kingdom. Northern kingdom was in heavy idolatry. Judah followed in their stead. And it says, and the Lord Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them. So the Lord put all 12 tribes into captivity and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following Yahweh and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, they departed not from them, until Yahweh removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. And the king of Assyria, so that's it on that pretty much. I'm reading it again. It says, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. Right. So Israel, that's talking about the northern kingdom, because they went into the Assyrian captivity. We read about a fact. You can read about them going into captivity. Let me see. Siege. Let's read about northern kingdom going into captivity. All right, so this is Syria. So we reading about northern kingdom going into captivity. What we just read. All right, we was just reading it. Man, that was the same chapter, man. So all we had to do is go up. So this is 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse. Start at 1. It says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. So this was the last king over Israel the northern kingdom before they went into captivity. It says, and he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. All right, so that was a siege going on for 3 years against the northern kingdom. All right, it says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried check this out, and carried Israel away to Assyria. All right, so this Israel is talking about northern kingdom, 10 tribes, man, and placed them in Halah, and it says in a harbor, and it says in harbor and in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. Like, so kind of just like I was saying, Israel was around the Assyrians, the Medo-Persians, just like, you know, city of the Medes, and the Elamites, man. So they was around. So Northern Kingdom was around them different strange nations. This is why Northern Kingdom can look differently. That's why they look so different. That's why they pretty much look within their own self. They look differently, man. This is why Northern Kingdom, they can be real dark, or they can be real pale like an Edomite. You know, they have a spectrum. You know, they have pretty much a spectrum they can go from. You know, or they be in between, man. They be real, you know, they be brown, tan, you know, with different types of hair. All right, you get this from what? Pretty much that Assyrian captivity pretty much is what made, you know, what Ephraim look like today, what Israel look like today, the northern kingdom. Verse 7, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh, their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel, and the kings of Israel which they had made. You know? So this pretty much going into, you know, the Lord is pretty much going into their offenses of what they did. But this is what we got. 2 Kings 17 verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away to Assyria, and placed them in Halah, in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. All right, this is why I was saying, which the so-called Iranians today, those are the Medes. That's why I was saying, like, and kid you not, I believe, was it, you know, yeah, man, I thought this girl, so-called Iranian, I thought she was Hispanic. You know, showing you that this is real, man. That the Northern Kingdom, the reason why, you know, different Northern Kingdom, Issachar, you know, Issachar, Zebulun, specifically Issachar, Zebulun, and like Naphtali and some of Asher. The reason why they look like, you know, those other nations over there in the east is because they mix themselves with them other nations, man. You know, mixing themselves with Edom. You know, I'm pretty sure, you know, Esau, he was over there. Edom, you know, Edom get his little, you know. So this is why they look the way they look. You know, that's why, you know, right? So let's get 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 23. Until the Lord Yahweh removed Israel out of his sight, as he said by all his servants the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria until this day. That's why, you know, they never came back, man. You know, so Northern Kingdom was cast out of the land. So this part, you know, this is the same thing. It's like nobody knew. All right, it's like damn near they, you know, Judah forgot about it because they never came back. It's like with this, it's like they the people, but shit, they underwater. Like they got the vibranium too, but shit, you know, they the Lord, you know. But hey, you know, they been gone for forever, man. You know, now they making themselves, you know. So this what we got. Then I'm gonna get a couple more scriptures and close out. All right, so this is what we got, man. You know, matter of fact, let me get Hosea. All right, this is the book of Hosea. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 1 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh that came to Hosea, the son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, the beginning of the word of Yahweh by Hosea. And Yahweh said to Hosea, Go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from Yahweh. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Dabalam, which conceived and bare him a son. And Yahweh said unto him, Call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, Call her name Lo Ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by Yahweh their power, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now when she had weaned Lo Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said God, Call his name Loami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. But it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, You are not my people, there shall be said to them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Right? And then you get more understanding of this. Before we finish that off, you get more understanding of this because Judah had got that mercy, but ultimately, all right, we were all cast off. Let me get is it Romans? I believe it's Romans 9. This is Romans chapter 9. This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 23, and it says, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, as he saith also in Hosea is Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. You know. So when we read, let's read 24 again. It says, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only. Now, why did he say not of the Jews only? Because we just read that the Lord said he's going to have mercy on Judah and save in Judah. Right? But also the Gentiles. The Gentiles are who? The Gentiles are the castaways. All right, starting with Northern Kingdom. You know, pretty much starting with Israel, man. That's the Northern Kingdom. All right, the Gentiles, the heathen, man, the Israelite foreigners, if you will. You know, it says, verse 25, as he saith also in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. We just read that in 10. And it shall come to pass that in the place where we said unto them, You are not my people, there shall it be called the children of the living God. Right? Now, it's another one. Let me see what people get tied up on. Let me see. Romans, whatever. The jealousy. The jealous. Let me see. It's in Romans. Cause this is all ties back to us, man. Yeah, Romans 11. All right. This is Romans 11, chapter 11. It says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Yahweh forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles. Right? And what is he talking about? He's talking about the Jews, man. How did the Jews fall? Because they read about that in John, the 1st chapter, man. This is John chapter 1. Verse 10, it says, he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. All right? But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. Now, his own is Judah, the Jews. All right? For it is, Hebrews 7 chapter 4, it is evident our Lord sprang out of Judah, which the Lord spoke to Moses concerning nothing about priesthood, roughly paraphrasing. All right, how did Judah fall? Through the rejection. How did Jews fall? Through the rejection of Yahushua. All right, by not accepting Yahushua. You know, through their fall, what happened? Because the Lord said he was going to have mercy on Judah, but the children of Israel in the latter days was going to get that mercy through Yahushua, man. This is how the jealousy, the continual tension, man. Romans 11:11. I say then, have we stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles. The Gentiles is who? All right, the Israelite foreigners, starting with Northern Kingdom. It's the Southern Kingdom as well, but Southern Kingdom Israelite foreign, pretty much Israelites that had heathen ways. All right, bloodline descendants. All right, Israelite blood descendants who were living the lifestyle of heathens. All right, which Northern Kingdom as a whole, that was them. It says through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles, and ultimately we all became Gentiles. All right, for to provoke them to jealousy. So this is that that fall because Judah fell, man. Showing you, this is why Yahushua had to be risen up and come on the scene and pretty much restore the whole nation. All right, starting off with his election, and then the rest of the nation. So we go back to Hosea, and we're gonna finish that off. All right, so Hosea 1:10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured, nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in a place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall be said to them, ye are the sons of the living power. Then shall the children of Judah and all the children of Israel be gathered together. All right, so Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. So let's go to Isaiah, the 11th chapter. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 10. It says, in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. All right, that root is Yahushua. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. The Gentiles is who? The Israelite blood. The Israelite, pretty much, the blood descendants of Israelites who live, who lived previous heathen lifestyles, who became back, all right, through the spirit and power and name of Yahweh Shema Shah, through repentance, believing on the name, and turning back to the Lord. All right, turning back to Yahweh Shema Shah as Israelites, man. Though they was once Gentiles. It says, verse 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel. All right, what does that mean? The outcasts of Israel. Who was outcast? Northern Kingdom. When they outcast, you know, the outcasts of Israel, bro. You know, they was outcasts, man. That's what you read about Hosea, the first chapter, in First and Second Kings, man. The history. It says, and gathered together the dispersed Judah, the outcasts, because Northern Kingdom, they never came back to the land, man. All right, they went somewhere else. They came to the Americas, and then Judah came by way over here by ships, man. You know, the Southern Kingdom. That's why it says, and gathered together the dispersed Judah, because Judah was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, predominantly through the transatlantic slave trade, man. The great diaspora. That's why I said dispersed of Judah. The reason said outcasts of Israel, because they never came back to the land. All right, they went to Osiris. And it says, gathered dispersed of Judah. Judah is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth through the great diaspora, man. All right. And it says, and ultimately all the children of Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Read about that in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. But as a whole, Northern Kingdom is found in the Americas, man. Let me get the Deuteronomy 28. That's why they call it the outcast. And Judah is dispersed. But as a whole, 12 tribes, all the 12 tribes is everywhere. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. All right, not just Judah. It's talking about the Lord speaking to Israel. All right. Lord is speaking to the whole nation. Let me see. Prove that. Deuteronomy 29:1. These are the words of the covenant which Yahweh commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. So the Lord is speaking to Israel, man. All right. So Deuteronomy 28:64, and it reads, it says, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other, and there shall serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 12, and it says, he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So, all right, so they gonna come back together, man. All right. You know, these two Wakandan kingdoms represent Northern and Southern Kingdom, man. They at the end, they were what? They had a union. They came together for peace, man. And it's ultimately gonna happen under the order of Yahweh Ba'ashim Shah, under our King Yahweh Shah. You know. Let me see. So let's go to Romans 8 again. No, Romans 9. Is it Romans 9:01? Romans 9 and verse. Isaiah, Romans 9 verse 27. It says, Isaiah also cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be descended to see, a remnant shall be saved. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. And as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabaoth had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom, and been like unto Gomorrah. And what shall we say then? That the Gentiles which fall not after the righteousness have attained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith. But Israel, which followed after the law of righteousness, have not obtained the law of righteousness. Wherefore? Because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by the works of the law. For they stumble at the stumbling stone, as is written, behold, I lay as is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. Right? Because they thought the way was through Moses, man. Nah, but the way is through Yahushua, not through Moses. You know, that's the door. All right, the law is just a schoolmaster. We can't be justified by the law, or else we get put to death. All right, this is the reason why we're in captivity right now. All right, that's why I said, you know, and people can't understand that. That's why I said Isaiah 1 and 9. All right, Isaiah chapter 1 verse 9 said, the Lord of hosts had left us into a very small remnant, where we should have been at Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah, man. All right, that's what Isaiah the 10th chapter, we're going to close out. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse, you know, and scripture just reiterating itself. Isaiah chapter 10 verse 22, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption of decree shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, shall make a consumption, even determined in the midst of all the land. And that's going, that consumption going into Israel being severed. You know, the scriptures talk about 2/3 being cut off. Well, that's what that's going into. All right, because ultimately the Lord is going to cut off 2/3 and purge out the rebels and bring the elect into that second covenant, man. You know, so, hey, man, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, you know, this history is big. It big. It has a huge background story, and even better prophetic ending, man. So with that, giving our praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahushua Ba'ashim Rakakwadash, calling La Alahaynawa Abanawa, Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahushua Ba'ashim Rakakwadash, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barakatim to elect, and peace, blessings, salutations, and also David the elect. DTA, Death to America, Up soon, come out, Shalom, Shalom to the elect, man, Shalom.